yeah, more of a portfolio project, more something that you can put on your show reel, rather than just little snippets. And that it doesn't matter whether you're game or animation. Just put things together and make them as awesome as you possibly can. So what I'm going to do then, I would like to see what your flags look like today, and then I can redo portion of that discussion if we need to, depending on what I see. And then I can go back and I have the smoke that we started on last week queued up, and I can go roll right into that one if you want. Remember that your sketches, your thumbnails, and I have this little graph paper here, which you really can't see all the little lines on it. It's just like 1/4-inch graph paper. Now you can't see it. And when you're doing thumbnails, 4 squares by 7 squares is very close to the 16:9 ratio that we use for film and animation and game. Just as a side note, a couple of my students in my stop motion class got in trouble last week because they were shooting their video like this. And I don't like vertical video. It's like, you should be shooting horizontal video. And they're animators too. I'm like, what are you people doing? And then 2 of them managed to get square videos. And my comment was that the Game Boy Color hasn't been around for years. So
got them.
Got them. All right, so those are my notes for today. So like I just said, I just put a place up on our class for the Pixie, for the flag animation. Just want to check on something here. Christy's here, okay. So yeah, let me just check. I put it in the announcements, the discussion area, and I put it in there under flag animation. And I would like to see your pixie dust, because I would like to keep a record of that, but it doesn't look like anyone has posted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to change the open close date, which closed on Sunday night. I'm going to make it Friday as well, because I need copies of your .moves, and please don't give me any other file except a .move. I don't want VLC files. I don't want WMV files. I want .move files. Okay, Jesse, you okay with that idea? It looks like you got your camera to work. Yep. All right, so let me get my notes just out really quickly here. Okay, I have a spot on my sheet here for flag animation. We're going to go backwards alphabetically. Uma, can you share your screen with us and show us your flag animation, please? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, it's like stuttering the loop. Okay. All right, most of it's working. I don't know why you got that little stutter there at the end. So what I'm looking at is that you got your drawings on 4s, which is okay. But I don't think that the little fold overs go all the way to the end. So I think that you could actually add a couple more frames there at the end to get the little fold overs, the little creases to behave towards the end of the flag. And then you've got to get the crease to start as it's coming in. So I think the little fold overs, the creases are working. You just have to continue them. Now, I set this up last week with an 8-frame demo. You may, in fact, find it more appealing, a little easier to actually do 12 keyframes. You need to get rid of one of the last frames of your last keyframe anyway. You see how it's like, it goes from 29, 30, 31, 32, and 33. You've got the last drawing on 5s. So just stop your cursor and put your cursor right there and hit minus key on the keyboard. There you go. So now it just erased that frame. But I think you need 2 extra frames anyway, just to finish the cycle. Thanks, Uma. Going backwards, Daniel.
Cool. Share screen. Okay. Loop. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So the cycle's working. We've got 8 frames on 4s. That's good. And the fold over and the crease. So what I'd like you to do is stop your playback and just click on flag number 21.
21.
21. See that? So just touch the flag in the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
No. Yeah, right down there. Just touch that flag. Touch frame 21.
Yep.
That's a weird looking flag.
Yeah.
You know, I think that what you want to do is you want to make it more fabric looking. I think the motion is working. So now hit the G key. That's a pretty weird flag shape too. So I think that you got the animation working. I think you just need to hit your shapes. Get your shapes a little better. Go to the last frame, G, hit G. You know, that one's not so bad. Hit G again. And again. So yeah, I think everything is working. G again. The crease, there, stop. Go back, hit F key, F. So you see this crease right there in the middle?
Yeah.
That crease has to move to the left. So hit G key.
Yeah, it just disappears.
It's gone. It has to keep moving. So this drawing is kind of funky too. You've got like a J shape right there. So fix this one and the next couple of drawings and get the crease back in there. I think you'll be okay. Let it play one more time.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you're right. The shapes are kind of awkward.
They're kind of funky.
Yeah.
That's a technical term at this point. They're funky.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, but you got the principal idea of the keys working, and thank the gods that those corners aren't locked in space out there. That's a big deal. Those little ends of the flag. And you know, for whatever it's worth, some of them are looking a little sharp. You know, it is a rectangular piece of fabric. So maybe try to tone down the sharpness a little bit.
Okay.
But it's looking
all right,
pretty
just
good.
keep it more consistent. Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks. Kristen? Is it Kristen or Christian?
It's Christian.
Christian, okay.
Okay. So mine is very, very rough.
Well, yeah, but it's starting to work. The only thing that it's starting to work. You've got everything on force. Here's what I would like you to do. Stop your playback. Take your red, take that and move it out, like all the way out there. No, keep going. Because you're going to put this, you're going, so like 38 should be fine. All right, so now click on frame number 1 in the flag area and hit the plus key 4 times. The plus, no, you have the plus key on your keyboard.
Oh.
4 times. And now hit G. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, keep doing it. 3, 4. Okay, no, wait, stop. You got to go out and add some more frames at the end. Take it out to like 42. Okay, now add 4 frames to those last 2 drawings. Okay, and that one. All right, stop right there. So 1, 2, 3. So you got a 5 frame cycle here. but it's actually moving. So yeah, take that and move it to 40. Now now make sure it's, okay, now hit play. So yeah, I think that you just need to go in there and now do in-betweens. And so I'm going to show you all how to do this, and you're going to do it just by me walking you through this idea. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so what I want, so go ahead and stop the playback. Stop the playback. Okay, so you're actually in a pretty good place right there. Hit the F, no, put your cursor on frame number 5. Right. So we want to do an in-between between this drawing and the next drawing that you have. So just above the timeline and over to the right a little bit is a little icon that shows you a plus sign with an X in it. So move your cursor over to the right. Keep going. Keep going. Right there. Stop.
Oh.
See the plus sign with the, hit that, and look what happens to your timeline.
Oh.
So what you've done is just created a blank drawing. Now, one of the things that I really despise about Toon Boom is to go ahead and hover your mouse over that button. Just let it sit there. It doesn't tell you what it is. You know how like in After Effects and Photoshop, it tells you the keyboard shortcut, or even it even tells you what it is. There. Now it comes up. Create an empty drawing. And Alt-Shift-R is not really a keyboard shortcut. So now what you're going to do is you're going to go back to frame 5. So you're on frame 5. And now what I want you to do is hit the onion skin. Now you've got it open for the first drawing, but the little green arrow of the onion skin doesn't go all the way to frame 8, 9, or 10 yet. So drag that out there. And you're still not seeing it, so drag it open a little more. There. Now drag it open even a little bit more. All right, so now what you can do is now you can zoom in on your flag itself. And now you can do an in-between. Now what I want to do though, hold on a second, is I am going to see if I can annotate this. And like, where's my annotation? This happened to me last week too. I'm gonna pause. Oh, here we go. All right, so no, don't do that. You don't have to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do an in-between. So within my drawing mode, and I'm going to use this horrible pink, right? And I'm going to just leave it as pink. So the way to do an in-between, now remember I told all of you that this line here that makes up the flag right near the flagpole should be more like a trace back. But that's how you do the in-between right there. You just draw those lines right in between each other, just right down the middle. All right, so now this little node right here is drawing number 1, and the green is drawing number 9. So the way to do the in-between is to put the node up and cross over and up, and then in between those two lines, right? Those two little lines right there. Now this is going down. So this node is going from here to here. So you in between it so that that node goes like this. And then this one is going from here to here. And so you do the in between. Remember to bring this line up. All right, and then this is your crease. So just go ahead and in between this line and bring your cursor right around to it. These two lines go this way. And then you might want to not make it quite so sharp. So I'm going to make this a little more roundy. But you see how those lines are in between there? it's going from this node to this node. So it's got to move this way, and then put that line back in there, or say the bottom. So this node right here is actually kind of drew that one incorrectly. This upper node, the green line should be more out here. So I'm just going to go ahead and fix that. And then this lower node, the green node, should be out here a little bit more. Remember, everything is moving to the right. This one is close. And then you just connect it back up to the crease. And here's the easy one. You just draw your crease here. Now remember that going backwards, you're going to probably have to draw a crease back in here. So once again, you just draw this as your in between. And then these two lines get in between. And then you draw your crease rolling over. And then check it. I don't like that. That becomes a tangent. So let me draw that up a little bit more. And then follow through. So what I do is I'll just number these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you're going to end up having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So here you're going to need 10 positions along the circle 8. And then you're going to get the flag to go to that point. So these 2 points are right on top of each other. The red one and the green one, they're not right. This should move. So the red should be here, and maybe the green is out here. So then that way you know to put your tip for the new in-between position.
Yeah, the green is right here. The point of it is right here.
Okay, good. So then you see that I did it right. So you go from the red to the green. And so basically that's how you do an in-between. If you've got one drawing here that's moving this way, the way to do the in-between then is that you should have the next drawing here, and then the in-between is going to be right in between those two lines, but you've got to come up. You've got to come up in order to get that to move correctly. You do not want to put this green line anywhere near this point. All right, does that make sense, everybody?
It does.
Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I put that away. Hold on a second. All right. So I think that just needs a little fixing right there.
Good. Thank you.
Oh yeah. So now you would go down and do the in-betweens for all the rest of them. Yes.
Yes.
But here's the problem, is that you have got a flag, and I'm going to put your cursor on frame number 1. All right, so this is your drawing 1. What I want you to do is I want you to go to the select key. Just hit the black select arrow. And go ahead and just circle with your mouse or your pen, just circle all the flag. Just select all of it. All of it, all of it. Good, keep going. Now copy it. Copy it. Just Command C, right? Now go out to frame 41 and put your cursor on frame 41. And just hit paste. No, don't do it there. No, copy.
Control C, right?
Just Command C. And then, yeah, and then now paste. Command V. All right, so there it is. And you're not going to use that frame. You're only using it to in between into.
Got it.
You understand?
Yeah.
So you don't need this. When you render your movie, you won't need frame 41. So, but you do need it when you make the drawing in between from key position 33. You'll have nothing to in between if you don't put that there. Got it?
Got it.
And then you just erase that one when you're done. All right, there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christian. Farah?
Hello. me a second. Screen. Where are you, Dave? Okay. I had a little bit of issue figuring out the cycle towards the end, so it was a little jittery.
Okay.
It's not as good as I would have liked it to be, but yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good there. So I'm worried about frame 33 though. Why do you have one drawing on ones right there?
Oh, this one, I was trying to expand the frames. I don't remember what it's called, like these and this.
Sure.
But I forgot.
So
Yeah, but I forgot the specific method, so I
so
just.
take the red end, nope, up. Take that and drag it out. All right, so now just this frame 33 is already selected, so just hit the plus sign on the keyboard 3 times. Okay, now hit the G key. And now hit the plus sign 1 time. And so now you have one more flag. So hit the G key. And now plus 3 times, 1, 2, 3. But you can't see the other ones until you move the red out a little bit more. All right, so now move the red back to frame 44. All right, so now you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 keyframes. Oh, wait, you have to move it out.
One more.
Yeah, one more. Not 2 more. One. Okay, good. All right, so now your playback is starting on frame 1 and goes to 44. So now hit your play and let's see what it loops like. Yeah, I think that it's for some reason it's sticking on frame 30.
Yeah, because all of these are the same drawing.
Okay, so you haven't done anything there yet.
No.
All right, so you just need to finish it.
Kind of.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be my ending. I was just trying to figure out how to expand my frames like over here. I don't know how to describe it.
Increase the exposure.
I think that's what it is.
Right. So yeah, I just showed you
Okay.
using the plus sign. Also, I believe if you just right click right there, you can increase the exposure, right? And decrease the exposure just right there by right clicking. But you see how it gives you the plus and the minus off to the right?
Mm-hmm.
And now I can't see that because my zoom thing, let me make sure. Yeah, see the little plus and the little minus over there off to the right? There's a little plus sign and a little minus sign. That's your keyboard shortcut.
Okay.
The little plus and minus. All right, it looks okay.
Yeah, I definitely want to go back and refine it later. Like
Right.
I was having a lot of issue towards the end. I was working with my onion skin and just trying to figure out how it's going to wave.
Right, right.
But at some point I just started getting confused.
Right, but you're not confused anymore.
Yeah.
So one thing that I would like to show you, and I did this last week, but let's just show everyone again. No, I don't know exactly what you're doing. Oh, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
So
I'm just trying to get it back to its original length.
Right. But what I'd like to do is, I think this flag blowing up in the sky like this is a little funky.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want you to do is go to the main black select arrow and click on it and hold it down for just a moment in the toolbar, up on the upper left.
This?
Click and hold. No, I think you're clicking on the wrong thing actually. There, reposition all drawings. All right, so now wait, don't do anything. Pay attention, because what you've got here is, it looks like a drawing is selected, but it's not just the drawing that's selected, it's every single flag is selected. And so you can just rotate this so that it's not blowing so straight up in the air. Nope, go to a corner, right there. Just rotate it a little bit. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Oh, you stop right about there. And so now you're gonna have to fix your flagpole. But what that did is it moved all the flags on that layer. That's a really wonderful little trick, isn't it? So now hit the
Yeah.
playback.
This,
Yeah,
Ooh.
pretty nifty, huh?
yeah, I like this.
Don't you wish Photoshop had that little trick? Look at Chris and he's like, oh man, this is a good day. Jesse's just chilling over there, but Christian is having a grand old time. All right, so this looks pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Looks pretty good. Thank you, Farah.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Um,
Key.
Hey there.
Now, did you have something or did you just throw it all away?
I mean, not much. 3 keyframes.
Just 3
Work.
keyframes. So, yeah, well, I don't need to look at this. It's not ready yet.
Yeah.
Try not to draw so scratchy.
Yeah. I'm trying.
Now, I know, and I was just thinking about this yesterday. There is a drawing component in my 180 class, and I teach storyboarding. I teach drawing, like that's all I do. And I think that it's an interesting little thing now that the executive director of the game department wants this class to have a big drawing component to it. So, and I think what it does is it expands your range. It expands your ability to show different things in your portfolio, but don't draw that scratchy. You know, if you need to, just draw a line and bend it with the sub-select tool. Let me make sure that I'm not thinking about Flash. Hold on one second. Now, I'm going to change my mind here, I think, because I think that this is just a cheesy way to do it. Yeah, I'm changing my mind. If we were talking about tying things down in production or something like that, I could show you a really clean way to do vectors. But I think that what I'd like you to do is just watch me in the monitor. Draw a long stroke of a line. Instead of all these little scratches, you know, give me one long stroke. That'll be a better place to start. And if you want, we can talk about the vectorization later. All right, so I think that I extended the deadline for this flag until Friday. So get your pixie dust up in the online, so I have a copy of it as a QuickTime movie, but I'll accept these flags as late as Friday night. Like, thanks, Key.
Thank you.
Christy.
Okay, it's my flag. I had to start over because it crashed without saving the first
Yeah,
one.
it does that sometimes. All right, so you just have 2 flags.
Oh, I only have 1 flag.
Oh, just 1.
Yeah,
Right.
this is the only one.
So if I could just make a, oh no, that's okay.
Yeah, the other one was a lot more complete, so this one's a bit choppy right now.
Right. Yeah, it's getting there. Remember to do that line that connects the flag to the flagpole, and to just trace it back, to copy that line, trace that line as well as you can. One thing that is actually kind of catching my eye, and what I'd like you to do, you could just, I'm going to just annotate this for you again. Is that I like this little thing you've got going on the bottom here, but I think that what you need is you need to copy this. So, and I don't know what frame you're on or anything, but what I'm seeing is that there's a downwards arc right here, and then put an upwards arc like this. It'll automatically make it look more like a flag.
Mm.
And so then you'll have something to work with. This node will move out, this node will move out. Because go ahead and hit the playback. Because you don't have any wave happening in the top.
Yeah, I see.
So the stuff in the bottom is working okay. Go ahead and pause somewhere. I'll hit the G key. Oh, wait, you have to select the flag. Yeah, okay, now hit the G key. Okay, stop right there. So I think what you also could do is augment this so that it's more obvious. Because right now you're just being very tame. You know, get that little curl to be more obvious. Now that you know it's working, let that curl be just a little more obvious.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Christine.
Thank you.
Oh, I forgot where I am here. Oh, it's because I have the wrong class. Okay. Going back up. Tom? So Tom, I noticed that you have a microphone. Your microphone is turned off, but you don't have a camera today. And I'm waiting for a response in the chat area. All right, so Tom, if you're listening, go ahead and put the QuickTime movie of your pixie dust and your flag now into the discussion area of our class, and I can look at it there. Linksy, you're up.
Yeah, I'm here. See that?
Ooh, ambitious. So it's looking pretty good. Do you have a little map of how you planned to do the tip of the flag? Remember last week I showed you all how to do that? Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah.
So now hit the G key.
G key?
G on the keyboard. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. So that's working. Hit your play again.
Okay.
Hit play. So yeah, I think the only thing that that I think needs a little bit of touch up, and this is just an aesthetic thing. So stop the playback, and now hit the G key. G, 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 G. Right there. Stop. No, go backwards at the F key. Hit the F key. Now the F key one more time. So you're going backwards. So no, stop right there. So no, stop. All right, so go hit the F key. So this one right here, hold on one second, let me get to my annotation. So this one, okay, this one right here is okay. This little thing is okay, but now hit the G key. So now it's going that way, which I think is fine, but this is looking a little suspect right here. You might even be able to simplify this by just kind of getting rid of the curl, but I don't know. But definitely the next drawing, hit the next drawing. That one, this one's funky town. This should have just that kind of look to it because the tip is moving along the arc this way, but you still have it straight. So what you could do is actually bring it down and around like this.
Oh, okay.
Like that on this particular drawing. So go ahead and hit the G key. And then on this one, you can just swing it out So now that it's coming like that.
Okay.
And then the next one. That one would be fine. So the green and the pink are my fixes. And I think if you do that, it'll automatically look better. So,
Okay.
and then remember too, that I think that what you want is that you have these a very metered set of curls. So that means that there has to be a crease right here, because it's about the same distance as these. And so this crease has to animate that way, and it's got to animate on too,
Oh.
because this crease becomes the curl over.
Okay.
Okay, it looks good. Jack. Jack, your video and your audio are turned off.
Hang on, let me get the video then.
Okay.
Screen share. I forgot we were only supposed to do the great keys. So
So that's looking pretty good. The wave is there. The only thing that's catching my eye are the little creases that you have on frame 28 and frame 27 and 29.
yeah, those are incredibly crazy.
So I think you might be able to just get rid of these guys right here. Can you see my mouse? No.
No, I can't.
No. So hit the G key.
Hang on, I'm gonna do something real quick. Soon. I was hoping I could see like your screen.
That's okay. Just hit the G key.
What frame?
G. No.
What
Right.
frame?
Right. G. Hit that frame. And then the last frame. So yeah, those little creases right there at the very end
Yeah, and they
are kind of
just
funky town.
and they don't translate really well with the first key.
Well,
right here.
but I also think that
Oh,
they're.
that changed.
Remember that my philosophy was that. Well, no, wait. What are you doing? No, stop.
This is supposed to be the first frame, and I noticed that some change happened so that they're not exactly
Oh,
the
I see.
same. So that might help give some better insight.
All right. So remember my general overall philosophy of just the flag is that this crease right here is wrong. Well, all of a sudden I'm from Brooklyn. This crease is wrong. This one right here, because technically the fabric should be like this.
Okay.
And then if there's a crease or a curl here, you want to stay true to the overall direction and unity of the shape of the flag itself.
Okay.
So like, for instance, like these guys right here, I think it would be better if they were like this. Because then you could see that it's belonging to this node and this node, so that it just kind of makes the flag look more three-dimensional. That's my take, and that's my comment, and I'm going to stick to it.
There's something that went wrong here.
But it looks good. The actual overall movement looks good. Your lines could use a little of aesthetic work.
Yeah, I have trouble kind of having clean lines like that.
But thanks for keeping the corners moving. The upper right one could be moving a little bit more, but it's okay. You got the idea.
Yeah, that's the reason I want to do the square one instead of the triangle one. Although seeing everyone else's like
No, that's
one,
okay.
I'm like,
No, that's okay. They're both the same kind of theory, and you got a really nice wave there in the bottom of the flag. So yeah, it's working pretty good.
Just need
Thanks,
to kind of
Jack.
fix that and clean the lines.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks.
Okay, Jesse.
So we just share my screen. Is it visible?
Yep. All right, so you've got a couple of things that are going backwards. So yeah, you could just go ahead and let it play. But I think that what you need to do is just keep track of where these creases are, so that they constantly move from the left to the right. And because of just the way you've drawn it, it looks like they back up on each other.
Oh yeah.
Right, to see that. So
I see.
so one thing it's actually catching my eye, and I want you to just go ahead and stop the playback, and by just touching one of the frames, like frame 8 or frame 9. Yeah, just okay, so I'm gonna hit the G key and the G key again. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just kind of keep track of this curl. So hit the F key. So, and then I hit the F key again. And then again. So now we're at the end. So go forwards by hitting the G key. Right on top, G, G, and again. Okay, stop. See what I'm doing?
Yeah.
Hit the G key again. So you're right in top. This is all okay, right? So that's your general speed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now hit the next one. So that's out here, which is fine, right? Now hit the G key one more time. And so where is it?
Back. Oh, it has to keep continuing.
So this has to continue. So whatever that means, whether this flag is going to curl over, you know, whatever it's going to do, but it stops. So hit the playback and watch what happens to your little crease. It just kind of stops right there. See it?
Yeah.
It's got to continue in here. And then just make sure, double check that these creases are always moving from the left to the right, because they're backing up on each other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you, Jesse.
Sure.
And Mark.
So mine isn't completely finished. I'm still like working on mine.
Okay.
It still needs a lot of work. Sure. Hold on.
Oh, wow, you got a lot of drawings in there.
Yeah.
I'm worried that you have 25 drawings. You really should be able to just pull this off with 12 drawings. And now, is that because you copy and pasted stuff?
Not
did you
really.
try to
It was kind of
animate
like I did like a 12 frame like cycle, and then I put, it's like 2 cycles.
Okay. So go ahead and hit play. Let me see what it's looking like again.
Yeah, it's still rough.
All right. Yeah, I think you're on the right track. It's quite a bit longer than what you need, but you are animation, so you should be able to pull this off. Stop it with the scratchy stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
The scratchy lines are not good. Do you feel that you could just finish this?
Yeah, I can probably get it done by Friday. Yeah.
Right. So let me just see a couple of things. What I'm going to do is, so I'm going to keep track of this guy right here, right? So go ahead, hit the G key. Go ahead. Oh, no, you're going too fast. Stop. F. Hit the F key all the way back to frame 1. Keep going. Stop. All right, now hit the G key and just wait. G again. Okay, G. G. Okay, G. Okay, and then, okay, continue. All right, that's where it stops. So right in here, you have to make sure that if it's going to curl around, you can pause for a moment, but this is your general overall speed, and that you got to then continue this out all the way to the end.
Yeah.
All right, so now go back to frame number 1. All right, so this crease right here is good, but you're probably going to need another one right here because that's where your rollovers are happening. So this will animate into this position, and then this will animate and become the first rollover, the first curl, which continues all the way to the end. So let me see what your little circle 8 looks like out here. Do you have that? Can you open it up?
I like it on my guide. Yeah, it's
Yeah, that was funky. I don't.
Yeah.
That's not working. Just so right here, you can do a couple of things. Instead of doing it the way I just did it, do like a circle 8 like this, because then it'll allow you to have the flag rise up in the air a little bit. So use this instead of that little weird thing you've got.
Yeah.
And that'll help you with the fix.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Mark.
Okay, thank you. The notes.
All right, take a short break. Take 10. All right, welcome back, everybody. What I'm going to do right now is continue showing you how to develop your smoke for your volcano. And remember, this was a really good request last week to say, hey, you know, we are jumping around, but the flag and the smoke really do have a lot in common with each other, just in terms of production. Hold on one second. I have a 14-year-old car and they keep trying to sell me warranty on it. I'm like, no, stop it. All right, so, oh, sorry, share my screen with you. All right, so last week we left off with just the idea of creating a node, a very visible outside curve that moves into another outside curve, it moves into another, so that you know in 11 drawings I've got to go from this position to this position. And in the same 11 drawings, I'm going to go from this position to this position. So one of the things that we didn't talk about was bringing the new shape on, which we will do today. The same thing for the top and bottom. Yeah, you can actually animate this circle getting bigger and going into this one, and then getting bigger and going faster into this one. But you got to remember to animate that on. So I'll show you how to do that. And I believe we've got the main shapes working. So if I just count them, drawing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's only 8 drawings, not 11. And then we did it on 8, so it's in each drawing is on for 10 frames. So it gives us 88 drawings. All right, so those things are moving. If you can just see them, those little component things moving, they're moving correctly. But now we just have to get in there, and like I showed you earlier, we're going to do create an empty drawing in there, so we can do an in-between if you need to. I mean, it just makes it smoother, and that way everything is on 4s. That's very acceptable. And then yeah, again, getting it to the point where this thing is paintable. And so the first thing we're going to do here is just on this level right here, is just keeping in mind that this is just our rough level, because we only I have a whole bunch of stuff turned off right there. Oh, and remember that one of the things that was in consideration for you is when you were looking at your kinds of smoke that when we talked about this just as we started last week, that there was one in particular smoke from the Iron Giant, that this could be something that if you wanted to do like that, then this could be something that, actually, let me see if I can copy this image, save this image as, because I want to just talk about this one for just a moment.
I was looking on YouTube, and another good reference I think is Lilo and Stitch.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. So let me just bring this one up. Where's my preview? There's my preview. Okay. So a bunch of other things are going to come up, but that's okay. All right. So you can kind of see here just in my sketch that like for something that if you wanted to do for your final, then what you have to take into account, I'm just looking at this little sketch right here, is that you can see that the smoke is billowing up and moving to the upper right. And so what happens is that you just kind of have to think about this outside shape right here. That's going to animate into either one or both of these two shapes right here. Now there's a couple of different ways to do this. One is that if you have this shape right here, this little outside loop animating into this outside loop, and then it's going to animate into this outside loop, right? You could do that. Or you could have it animate from this one into this one, and then it goes all the way over here to this one. And then the other one crosses over behind it. So this one animates all the way up and into this shape, and then into this shape and goes up on top. It's a little bit more to keep track of, and you're gonna have to figure out how to get it to loop correctly. What happens at the end if it just dissipates? Same kind of thing with this, is that you look at this as an inside curve right here. And I can see that once we've touched this, that there's another one that's very similar to it from Attack of the Clones. But the idea here is that this is an outside curve. And so it's going to be very easy for you to keep track of this outside curve moving into this position right here. And then from this position moving into that one, and then this one, and then up into here. And so again, you could do it with 8 drawings. Just get this shape to move into this one. And this one has just a different look to it than what this one has. You know, mine's just a little bit more cartoony, and I'm doing it this way just so that it's easier to keep track of visually. All right, so remember that when we were doing this, I'm gonna take my glasses off here for just a second, is that we just did these shapes. We were just getting those shapes animating. So let's do the first thing that we need to do is make sure we can bring the new shape on. Before we do that, let's just make sure that all our shapes are animating correctly, keyframe to keyframe, and that should be fine. So let me go to the first frame now. And remember, we started to tie this down, and then this one doesn't have the tie down on it yet. All right, so this is our second drawing, and remember we have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Third drawing, we don't have to worry about the new shape coming on until somewhere about right here. So within this rough drawing here for demo 88, what I think I'd like to do is kind of copy this shape right here for every subsequent drawing. So I'm gonna go to this drawing right here. I'm gonna turn my onion skin on. And the reason why I wanna stay with the color that we were using, this black color, I believe. Let me eyedropper this. Oh, Alt-D. Because it's easier to change if you keep the same color. All right, so now back to our pencil, which is Alt forward slash. All right, so now on this keyframe here, again, we haven't tied this down yet, but what I want to do is I want to copy this, because we're going to need this just moving around just a little bit. And then I don't want to copy and paste it because then it'll die. So on the next keyframe, I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm just going to do a little trace back right here. And it's just kind of like the smoke just kind of billowing right at the top of the volcano. And we're still doing a rough here. And remember that the ultimate thing I'm looking for is just a little bit of motion. It's kind of like the same idea of that area of the flag that touches the flagpole. These are just called trace backs. And I only have 3 more to do. All right, and 2 more. Part of the reason why I'm not going crazy with any kind of smoke coming out here, I mean, it could, but I want to show lava and I want to show particulates or stuff coming out of the volcano, like rocks rolling down or something. All right, so now that I've got that line locked in there, let's figure out where the first place we can start bringing out this new shape here. So right now, if I started to connect this, right now I'm on drawing 4. So I'm just going to start to connect this with an inside curve just like this. And I'm going to go backwards. And I'm going to realize that just from drawing number 1, these little Mickey Mouse ears move into a bigger and a smaller shape over here. So we have to keep track of that. And because we've got our shapes locked in and we've got keys, I just have my finger over the G key. And what I can do is I can just start to go, okay, that's my outside curve. And then this is an outside curve to this center point. And then it's moving up. And I can see that this outside curve, I'm on the second drawing here. And again, remember that this has to move up. It can't just move to the right a little bit, it has to move. So it's like moving arcs. So we're off the screen at this point. So now am I drawing 3? And again, I've got my onions can turn on a turn. I can see where the little shapes are going to go. And this shape right here is going to end up becoming small. So you don't have to make it too much bigger. All right. And then connecting and up. So right here is where this little shape right here is going to become my Mickey Mouse ears in just a few more drawings. All right, so there's the outside curve. There's the outside curve. And at this point, I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to Command Z this twice because now on this drawing here, it has to become this big shape. See that shape right there? This is one of the reasons why I like seeing my first drawing as a sketch that is down here on the rough layer. It's because it just reminds me that I've got to end up with this kind of shape here and then a smaller shape in just 4 more drawings. All right, so I'm going to connect to this one and then up. And again, we're only just doing the top part right now. All right, and then the next G key. So now you can kind of see that this little billowing is starting to happening right here. So it's got to move out to become into this position. So, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more drawings. So this is good right here. I'm going to do an inside shape and then this shape and then another outside shape. This one going up. And I know I'm not testing it because I've done this before. I know this will work. And by the way, it's kind of hard to do this and talk at the same time. I always make mistakes when I do it that way. All right, so now I got 1, the drawing I'm on, and then 2 more to get into this Mickey Mouse shape. So I'm going to go to here. So right there, and then an inside curve, and then outside curve. And remember that this one's going to become over here. So I'm going to make that one a little bit more pronounced. Just like that. And connect. There's a pair of eyeglasses. All right, 2 more drawings now. This one and the next one. So I'm going to bring this out just a little bit. And now I've got room to show that other Mickey Mouse shape coming right there. And I've got this. And then I changed my mind. So that one was going a little farther. Keep going up. And off the screen. One more keyframe. And now we're gonna, in between this to the Mickey Mouse shape, I'm gonna go backwards because I think that what I would like to do is this shape, this interior shape right here, this interior curve isn't as pronounced in these drawings here as I would like. So the way I have my Wacom set up right now is that this is an eraser. So I'm just going to erase a couple of these and then go backwards and start to introduce that inside curve. And at this point, I think I also want to speed this up just a little bit. And especially on this one. All right, so that's my first drawing. Second one, so now I'm just keying through it. So now I'm just taking my G key and pushing it to see if everything is moving like I want it. And I'm only looking at one little part at a time. So right now, like this little thing right here, it jumps when it goes to there. So we'll have to see what it looks like. Let's see what it looks like when we play it. And it's kind of hard to see. But we can make a mental note to fix that one. All right, let's just do the bottom now. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to go to the next keyframe. And okay, so this is drawing 1. This is drawing 2, and it's not moving yet. Do I have something turned off? I have a feeling because I was talking last week that I didn't do this in the right place. So this is my third drawing. These guys should be moved a little here. And here's another trick for you. We only have 3 drawings. So if I hit the control key, I'm sorry, the option key. Nope. In a Mac, it's the command key. So right now I'm on the pencil mode, and if I could just draw. But if I hit the command key or you hit the control key on a PC, it takes you just momentarily to the selection tool. So right now I'm back in the pencil, I can see it, but if I hit command, then I can move this over a little bit because I didn't quite move these because this is the third drawing. And as long as you keep that thing closed, you'll be able to move it. And I'm still holding the command button down. All right, so now I go back to this drawing here, and my onion skin is on, but I can't see the next drawing yet. And this is always a contentious thing here when you're animating keys that are on 8s. If you really want to see the next keyframe, you have to use your mouse to extend this out. Let's see if I can see it. So I can just barely see it there, which is fine. So on drawing 2, and again, we're trying to introduce the new plume. So I can see that it's right here on this drawing. It's just going to be an in-between of those 2 shapes. And on this one, it's just going to be an in-between of these 2 shapes. And on this one, oops, sorry. It's going to be an in-between of these 2 shapes. And again, paying attention to how these lines cross over right there. All right, so now we're going to hit the G key, the F key backwards to frame 1. And now I'm going to go forwards with G key and make sure that those black lines are moving. So we missed something. I'm watching my timeline. Okay, so I think we should be ready to go just for the bottom here. So this shape is now going to, so now I'm on drawing here. And I'm just going to animate these guys moving to the right just a little bit. I'm still drawing roughly. And the same thing, so this is my outside curve. And I've got to keep this little shape moving, this shape moving, And then I've got an upside down Mickey Mouse ears with a little U shape in it. Remember that this part's moving a little faster. All right, and then on this one, there's a little wing and another that's going to go off the screen here very quickly. All right, so now drawing number 3. And here's my black rough. And I can introduce an inside shape here to the top of the volcano. And then I want to animate all this stuff moving over, just keeping in mind that it's going to move a little faster than these ticks over here, because this bottom shape was moving faster in the wind. All right, so then I have a U shape, then my double Mickey Mouse ears. And I don't like that. I'm going to make this one actually even a little bigger. And I'm going to connect it right to this shape. And then this is going off the screen. Drawing number 3. This is drawing number 4. Yeah, something's wrong with these. These are backwards. I'm going to move these. You see what I'm doing? I'm waiting for my little move cross to show up correctly, and sometimes it doesn't like grabbing it. That's the pivot point. You don't want that one. There we go. I'm holding my mouse key down. That one. Okay, so now I can move that. All right, so that looks better. Let's just check it, go back to the first frame. And we're just looking for continuous motion to the upper right. Okay, and we're on this frame drawing right now. So now it's when we can start thinking about introducing the new plume down here. So let's look at this. There's this little shape. Let's just do this one first. This little shape is moving. And then it goes to this one, and then this one. All right, so now this is an interior shape and an exterior. So this one, I think it's a little early. I'm gonna just keep this one tied to it just for one other frame, because 4 drawings is fine. 4 drawings on 10 on 8s is fine. So let's just keep going with this. We're going to look at the red. We're going to animate the red lines, just moving to the right. All right, and then the next keyframe. Let's go back and check this. All right, yeah, so these lines are actually, I'm going to delete these. All right, so what I've done is I've just deleted those positions because I believe I messed up. And instead of trying to talk through the fix, I'm just going to do it straight ahead. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just checking these shapes that they're animating correctly. And now I'm on this drawing here. So again, I'm going to just keep these shapes moving. And again, we're just doing roughs that I intend to tie down here in just a moment. And again, remember that I'm giving myself really wide open, big circular shapes because it's easier to keep track of them. If I wanted to tie them down and soften them up a little bit, I could certainly do that. All right, so now all right. All right, so now you have to make sure that this plume right here is coming on. So I'm going to introduce this negative shape right here. And that's all I want to do is to make sure that this is animating on just with like the other one so that it cycles correctly. So now on this one, I'm going to do about halfway between there and here. All right, then the other thing that I'm doing is I'm actually doing this really fast. And one of the things that I had noticed during spring semester was that it gave me the ability to just demo this as fast as I possibly could because we're recording it. And then you can always go back and check what I was thinking, what the thing actually looked like on YouTube, because I'm going to put it up on YouTube in just a minute. All right, so now what I want to do, this is my last drawing here. So I want to make sure that there's apparent motion going from the red line into the black line, which was my original sketch. And one of the reasons why doing this fast, it gives you the ability to go back in and change it quickly enough. All right, I can see that there's going to be a little problem in this area right here. Again, it's really hard to talk and draw at the same time, but let's see what it looks like.
So it seems like a full cycle of the smoke is just one sort of major, that sphere that we're focusing on, getting to the next one over, next major point that we're focusing on.
I'm looking at just the black lines, which is kind of hard to see.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can turn my background off. Yeah, so there is a little problem in my cycling right where I put that little line, but the top is working. And so the plume is working here. And so let's figure out where the error is happening. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay with this black color here. And one of the reasons why using this black color becomes important is because when you have the onion skin on, the red is before and the green is coming up. And so, and I have it open pretty wide here. So let's just take a look at, oh, I have to go, I'll make sure I'm back on frame number 1. And I'm gonna, and I wanna make sure of a couple of things. One is that I'm following these key nodes right here. So there's 3 of them down here. And I wanna make sure that this outside node animates into this correctly, and that this animates into this shape here correctly. And remember that we only have 8 drawings. And so if you get one going backwards, at this point, you have to fix it so that you don't waste any time. So going forwards now, this is my next keyframe, and you can just flip it. You know, those are moving. You know, the black line is moving. So you're on the right something. So drawing number 2 is okay. Drawing number 3, that's moving as well. So now I'm going backwards and forwards, backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards, and looking just at each specific little shape. I'm just looking to see that the black line is moving correctly. So my first 3 drawings are okay. Drawing number 4. So again, now drawing 3, drawing 4, drawing 3, drawing 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. That's okay. 3, 4, 3, 4. That's okay. Drawing 4, drawing 5, 4, 5, 4, 5. And I'm looking at different parts. 4, 5, 4, and 5. 4 and 5, okay? 5 and 6. 5, 6. 5, 6. 5, 5, 6. And 6, 7. 7. I can see my indication coming up here. So this one is the one I probably screwed up on, which is 7, 8. 7, 8. And indeed, 8 is messed up. So let's figure out where it's messed up. So this is 7, this is 8. So let's just start with this shape right here on drawing number 7, which just happens to be frame 66. All right, so I'm gonna make sure that that shape right there, the little dot on it, is moving correctly to the right. And it's here, but I think that we're losing it because I changed the shape too much. So I'm going to make it darken in there a little bit. So let's go backwards to drawing number 7, 8, drawing 8, 7, 8, 7, 8, 7, 8. Oops. This is 7, the 7. Oops, now we're in 1. 7, 8, 7, 8, 7, 8. Okay, 7. So now what I'm looking for is this little shape right here moving correctly into drawing 8. Oops, I went too far. 7, 8, 7, 8. And that's where the mistake is, right here. So you see the little red that I just drew. I need to make sure that this is really clear. I'm going to darken it in. We'll just look for it. Because then this, see the red shape right here? We missed that. And so I'm just going to bring that shape down. It's moving a little fast, so I'm going to back it up a little bit. And then I'm going to see this red shape. So I got to put this in here. And again, I'm not going to erase. I'm just drawing it a little more darkly. All right, so this is my last drawing. And let's see if that fixes this cycle. Just those little darker lines right there. Yeah, they flash. See the flash right there. So in order to get them to stop flashing, what I need to do is I'm just going to make sure that this drawing and I'm going to just jump out here about halfway through the cycle. And I'm going to go to my rough layer and I'm going to pick like some green color. And on my rough is what I'm going to do is, and this is weird because it should be underneath it, but for some reason it looks like it's on top. And I'll look at it here in just a second. So what I'm doing is I'm giving myself a beginning of what the tie down is going to look like for just this particular keyframe. And hopefully, and this is just one long hold right here. And so I want to make sure that that last keyframe is animating into this position. And that's why I picked this green color so we can see it. All right, so now let's go back to this one. And it's okay, it's underneath it. So on, okay, so what I'm looking at here is this drawing right here has, I'm going to go back to my black color. I'm going to just darken in these guys up right here just a little bit so that I can follow through with them. And I don't need to make any other notations, but I can see that this green is going to become, that's where it's skipping. I'm skipping this little green part here. And it could be just because I was thinking about it, I was adding it in as I was going. Because on this drawing, now we see this, right? But on the green drawing underneath it now, because there is no drawing in the front, that is the very first keyframe. So I can fix this a couple of different ways. One is I can drag this shape, this little this little Mickey Mouse shape, this whole thing, into more of a relaxed shape like this, which is probably the best way to do it, because that's where it needs to end up with in the cycle. So for this one, I'm on the last keyframe. I'm just gonna scrub out, I want to see where some of it was. I'm gonna go back a keyframe, and I'm gonna scrub out this stuff too. And that's fine. And I'm going to go back one more. So now what I'm looking at is it's still not quite getting into that. So I'm going to scrub out this stuff just a little bit. And let's see if I'm going to go back one keyframe. Now I'm on my fourth drawing. 1, 2, 3, fifth drawing. So this shape right here, it's still kind of funky town. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rub this out. And remembering that what I was thinking when I was doing this was that we were looking at a faster motion between the middle. So let me go and see if I've erased enough. I'm going to kill this little shape too. I'm going to kill this little shape. And that should do it. Okay, so now I'm going to go backwards a few keyframes. This one. All right, so pencil, make sure I'm in the pencil mode. And I'm looking to animate the red. So, and it's going fast. So I'm just kind of redoing this shape. But now, instead of following through on these pretty crazy shapes, I'm just gonna soften them up. They're just gonna fold into each other to become this outside shape. And then we'll put one little thing right here that's just going to animate out. I've got 3 drawings to get there. Next drawing, forwards in time. So I'm just going to animate. Come on, Toon Boom, stop it. So now I'm taking this U shape, this little U shape right there, and I'm just kind of folding it in to this shape. And then I'm going to take this shape and get in between it. And it's going to be off the screen the next frame anyway. All right, and then this one. So I'm going from the red to the green. Red to the green. And I'm softening this exterior shape. And softening this little exterior shape as well. And then I have one more drawing. All right, so I'm going from the red to the green, and I'm gonna pull back on this a little bit. Yep. So now I'm really softening this. And again, I'm just drawing really fast. And rough, because I have to do a tie down pass on top of this. All right, so let's take a look at this. So yeah, it probably jumps down into that smoothing out thing just a little fast. And what I can do now, and what I'll do is, I'm gonna do a tie down layer on top of this. So on top of Demo 88, I'm gonna bring up a new drawing. And this is just gonna be TD for tie down. And this is to make sure that I've got it in the right place. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my line tool and draw a line. Actually, just let me use the pencil to keep it simple. So I'm going to draw a line that's way outside the picture frame, both there and here so that I can just paint it to make sure it's moving correctly. So now with my command key, I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna strike through it. It's copying both of those. And then I'm just gonna go, oops, toom boom, stop it, Shift M. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna touch this keyframe here and paste. And I'm just gonna paste all the way down the timeline. That establishes my keyframes. And then out here I hit F5, which extends the exposure. And now I can just draw here as a cleanup. So I did my rough in black. Let's do a tie down in a more traditional color. Tie downs are usually blue or dark blue. So I'm just gonna bring my multi-wheel mode up. Let's pick something like right in there. And we're just gonna call this TD for tie down. All right, so now you have to pay attention to where you are. And I'm just gonna, I think what I'm gonna do is the first thing that I'm gonna do is do that little tie down on the rim of the top of the volcano first. So I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna go in blue, outside curve, outside, inside, outside, outside, inside, and just kind of do that. And then go keyframe to keyframe, and then just do that shape first. Because then your hand is in the same position and you're liable to not make too much of a mistake in the trace back. An example of really, really, really heavy trace back is Ed, and Eddie. Their lines are really, really lively. There was a cartoon called Dr. Katz. They use trace backs a lot. You can try to get this perfect and you can try all day and it's never, ever gonna be perfect. It's kind of like the same theory as rotoscoping. You can try to copy the live action. You're never gonna get it perfect. And it adds a little liveliness to the line. Again, just like we did with the trace back of that part of the flag. All right, so now we're on frame 1 again. And now I can just go to here and I can start to really, really refine these shapes following the black that I had. And remember, you can always soften this with a blur. You can soften this with transparency. There's all kinds of things you can do. So now I'm just gonna do the top first. And we got it set for keyframes now. So all I have to do is hit the G key. And pay attention to where you were, right? So if you need to go backwards, that went too far. All right, so we were on red. Now we're going to the black. And I'm just kind of tying this down, just redefining these shapes just a little bit. There is motion to the right. And it's at this point when you build your confidence because you're like, this part of it was already working. G, go to the G key.
Will you want us to have this like in between by the time we come back together?
Well, yeah, I think that we've got 3 weeks to work on this one.
Oh, okay.
So let me just get through this little part right here. And so because I think what I want to do is show you how to do the in-betweens again. Stupid middle mouse on my button, man. All right, again, I'm just doing the top. And here's that little billow coming out. Again, it's easier just to do cartoony lines like this because then you can see it better. And then if you want, you can go and put a level in behind it that is more graphic or more comic book looking. You can use this as a guide. And one more drawing. All right, and then this is the last drawing here. This was an in-between from the red into the green shape that we established. All right, so let's just take a look. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna zoom in. Oops, too far. Too far. Too far. Oh, really, really sensitive tool. Okay. Let's just use the 2 key, 1 key. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to make sure these lines are moving correctly. That's all I want to do. So I'm going to hit play. And I'm looking for the blue movements. And they seem like they're moving okay. I'm going to turn the demo 88 off. So now I'm just looking at the movement of the blue lines. And it's on 8. So let's just talk about bringing this guy back onto 4. So in the tie down level, I can see that I'm on frame 6. And I'm going to just introduce this key again, which is add a blank empty drawing. So now there's no drawing right there. And I got to make sure my onion skin on is correct. So I'm going to limit this to just 4 or 5 frames in front. And at this point, I can turn my rough off. And what I'm looking at then is that this one, let's do it this way, actually. We're gonna go in here, we're gonna set blank drawings for in-betweens on all of these so that it's now on 4s. Actually, I think it looks like it's on 5s. And I probably had done that for the original timing to just really slow it down. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I think I still have this, those perimeter lines, those paint 2 lines in my clipboard. So on these blank keyframes now, I'm just going to hit paste. And they're back. So now I'm just going to go out a keyframe and another blank drawing, hit paste. Keyframe, blank drawing, paste. Keyframe, blank drawing, paste. Keyframe, blank drawing, paste. And what this does is it establishes pixels on that keyframe. So now you can just navigate with your F and G keys. And when I was doing a demo for this last year, I was like, you can keep doing it with your F and G keys. And I didn't realize I was saying F and G. F and G keys. All right, so so now this is a blank drawing here because we're just looking at the blue and black. So now I can just zoom in on this. Oops. And now we're just looking at, let me turn demo 88 off. So that's the drawing that we were working on as our first tie down. And then that's the next tie down, right? So this was the first drawing number 1. This is now drawing number 11. So drawing number 6 needs to be in between. So I'm just going to take these lines and I'm going to in between them. And I gotta, when I'm doing this, I have to remember what direction things are moving. This is moving out and up. And those lines have to be in between each other. And you're doing a tie down, so you want to be as precise as you can get it. There's a little hook right there, and these lines are coming right here. and then move. So it's got to come up. The tangent has to come up and then roll over. Those 2 points need to be in between. And like that. So that's the easiest way to do insert a blank drawing like that. So this is the next keyframe. This is a blank drawing. So again, we want to bring the little trace back thing for the top of the volcano. And then we're going to in between from the red into the green. I don't like that. I'm going to redo that one. It's got to come up and out and all the way over. Keyframe, next breakdown. In between these lines, going from the red into the green. That's too wiggly. You know, sometimes you can hit the turn the stage keys, which is Option, Command. But on the other hand, sometimes what happens is that you forget what direction things are going. This is just the trace back, going from the red into the green. Keyframe. And I don't know why I was brave to do that line all in the same stroke, but that's okay. At some point in here, your hands start to have memory. And you can just, your hand side, oh yeah, this is outside, inside, down, up, outside curve, inside curve. And if you even do one thing out of order, your hands will tell you, it's like, oh, wait, Billy, you did something wrong right there. The hard part is if your hands remember too late and you're already a drawing ahead of yourself, then you go and try to fix the wrong drawing. It's like an animator's hell. It looks like I have 2 more to do here. And we'll take a look at how this looks. Trace back, coming into the original Mickey Mouse ears. 1 more drawing after this. And I am trying to keep these shapes closed. This is worrisome. I don't know why this is so slow right here. Those lines should be a little bit further apart. Again, it's probably just the process of talking at the same time. All right, so now, in order for this to work, I've got to go out here and add a copy of the first drawing. But let me just take this out. I'm going to open that up 1 frame. So I'm going to go to this one, and I'm just going to, my command button is my immediate copy. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it just in that last frame. And so now I want to do this drawing here, and I'm going to move right into it. So there is a little bit of motion, a little bit too much motion than what I expected, but we'll see how this works. Go ahead and just do this little tie down right here. And remember to turn that copy drawing off. So bring this back like that. Let's just see how this looks. So it's getting there. I think that I used the correct process. You got a little bit of billowing happening. In my mind, I think that these little Mickey Mouse ears flatten out a little too early. And I can certainly make that adjustment. But what I would do is I would go back in and use that same process for the bottom of the smoke. And then you're not done, because you want to put highlights and shadows on this. And the way you do that, I'm going to stop the playback. So let me turn my original smoke back on. And you can kind of see what I was thinking. There's a whole bunch of things in here.
Is there anything we should know about like light and color theory as it applies to smoke? Or
Well, I think gray is good. You know,
well,
it is a volcano, so you want to be as gray and, you know, volcanic as you want about it. So, and what this one has here, it has the original on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my demo and tie down off. And I think what I'm going to do is turn off the rough as well. All right, so let's just see what I've got. Something is missing. Let me just turn all this stuff back on again. All right, so once again, the thing that I'm looking for from you is the idea of planning. Now, I don't know what happened to my volcano, my drawing. Is it? This is it. All right, so I did like a little drawing that on frame 1, as I explained when we introduced this project, that I took my little sketch and I just transferred it right there. What am I thinking? I want the volcano on the right, volcano on the left. I want the smoke going up so I can see it. I'm gonna have lava dripping. I'm gonna have everything. I have fire in here. We'll do fire next week. And so this is what that looked like. You can see that I've got a couple of things turned on that shouldn't be turned on. But the smoke is moving on. My smoke is on 8s, and I think that that's fine. It's just moving really slowly. But the lightning is on 1s, the water is on 2s, the fire is on 2s. So there's a whole bunch of things that are working in here. We'll talk about fire and water splashes next week. But I think that what you should have is the plan. In this particular, stop it. In this demonstration here, I was going for a little GIF that I had found, and it's somewhere on my effects board, but I kind of like the idea of just the blues and the blacks in the background, and then some hotter colors up front. And you could kind of see how that was going for that. So, you know, my smoke is gray and purple and dark blue. You can do all kinds of things. Smoke can be pretty white. If there's a lot of sulfur in the burn, there could be yellow in there. You're welcome to try all kinds of different things. Oh, and on this one too, what I had done was realized that I wanted projectiles coming out of this volcano. So this one's got the smoke, but then this one has got the projectiles coming out of it. So at speed, you know, it's like woo, and I was always reminding everyone that we're a good mile away from this particular volcano here. And so you got to keep in mind your relative speed of things. And in this one here, we'll talk about the lava next week as well, but I didn't want the lava to just continue and pool, so I have it hiding. The lava comes out and just kind of goes down a little crevice right there. And again, this was just a demo. All right.
Can we see some student examples? Like, do you have a collection of like previous years?
Let me find them. I have a bunch of them. All right, so yeah, these are student examples. So Command L. Oops, I did the wrong thing there. All right, so this one was just pretty simple. The smoke just kind of looks like a turd. It kind of looks like it's just wiggling around. It doesn't look like it's moving correctly. The lightning is really simple. This one's not the best one I've ever seen. All right, so this one introduces the idea of a whole black frame when the lightning strikes, and then a white frame when the lightning strikes, which is really great for explosions. She's got bubbles in this one, and the fire is very stylized. The smoke is just pretty simple. I would have liked it that smoke dragged out over the screen to the right a bit further, or that this little piece of rock looked more like a volcano, but this is a good one. I believe it was in the spring show. And you can see everyone was following my lead about putting the volcano on the left. It doesn't always have to be like that. All right, so this one, I think the tip of the volcano is way up above the left focal point. And I think that if you look at mine, I intentionally put that focal point in the middle so that I could see a bunch of smoke, but that person didn't pay attention to me, and they have it shoved way up to the top. So I think the volcano is working okay. The smoke for the volcano is working okay. You know, you can, it's tedious work, but I think that there's a bunch of repetitive shapes here so that you can see that there's medium, 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 medium shapes all the way through this. And it's just not as appealing as it could be. The fire is kind of cool. But also I think that if this volcano smoke is moving at this kind of rate, then the clouds in the background are moving way too fast. I think that if you would have slowed it down, it would have looked much, much better. Okay, so this is just an example of the smoke being way off the focal points. It really should be more over onto the right, because there's nothing going on over here, which is kind of crazy. And this fire is just really too simple.
Especially with the smoke like leaving so early off the screen.
I only heard about half your words. Say it again.
I was saying, especially since the smoke is leaving so quickly off the screen, like it seemed to me
Right.
to push the volcano to that
Yeah,
part
and
of the
there's not much to it. You know, if this was bubbling, oozing, primordial bubbles here, I think he could have afforded to make these a lot bigger. I'm not sure if we looked at this one.
Were we also going to learn explosions today, or was it?
Did we what?
We're going to also learn explosions today, right?
I didn't hear your words.
We're we're also learning explosions today, right? Like, I just seems strange that none of them always had that.
Let's just do this. Let's just get the smoke going. We'll, I'll save explosions for later. They are on the outline, but I think that they notoriously it becomes better for your final.
Okay.
And they're really easy. Explosions are just like, so you build it as part of like a final chemistry lab or something like that. Here, I'll show you. This looks kind of like a volcano. This was his final. Yeah, maybe this one doesn't have an explosion in it. It has breaking glass and splashing water. There was one in particular that had like a chemistry lab.
Well, that's cool.
So that's his final. Explosions are really easy. They're really easy.
No one seems to want to do it for their final though.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't quite done. Some people choose to do the explosions just by themselves.
So I'm surprised no one like thought to do like plasma explosion and
Yeah, that's in there too.
like that one just seems so obvious. It's like, yeah, plasma ball.
And we're
Boom.
gonna,
Cool action scene.
and we have a tornado that we're gonna do next. So after this volcano, we do tornado.
Is that a student tornado?
Uh-huh.
Oh, it looks nice.
It's good.
It's very cool, honestly. I was watching a clip from Weathering with You, and I love the way they depict dragons in it because they're essentially just these giant cyclone clouds,
Yeah.
but with, you know, anthropomorphized. But like the effects animation going on that set was so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why the bulk of these got, you know, got the unfinished quality to them. My intuition is that this was part of the end of spring quarter and everything was really topsy-turvy at the end of this past spring quarter. But hopefully you have an idea of what you're looking for your volcanoes.
Yeah.
You know, I think that it's the attention of getting the smoke cycling, putting the lightning in there because lightning is in itself is just, it's a couple of frames. If you looked at my my timeline down here, you can see that there's only 4 frames of lightning. And then there's like 12 or 14 frames of this water splash. And so this is becomes a nice composition for you.
Lightning, I tried doing some lightning effects over summer and I found it really hard because it feels like there's no like concrete pattern to it, or at the very least it's not like smoke or like water where it's on screen where it's on screen long enough for you to be like, oh, I see what it's doing.
You can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in this particular example here, I showed everyone how to take, see these clouds moving in the background here?
They're manipulated.
That's just one cloud, and I keyed it down here, and then I keyed it down here, and I moved it. And so when you're watching the loop, the clouds, they move across the sky, and then they jump all the way to the back. And so, I mean, one way of getting around that is to copy everything in the timeline when you're done with it, and paste it at least one more time. Like, so this would be in the 160 range, which would be well over 5 or 6 seconds worth of animation. And then you just drag those clouds really slowly over the total of 5 seconds, and then you're done with it. I mean, I like having the splash in here because the traditional water splash can be more of a seascape, you know, with mermaids or fish or whales or something. But it's kind of a cool thing that the lake, this green lake right here, has a bunch of water splashes in it. And then I have my fire. This is just one fire. But you remember when we did transpose all drawings, I copy and pasted everything from that cycle. And every single one of these little bits of fire is the same 12 frames of fire.
That's actually
It's just
good.
copied and repeated and starting and stopping in different places. So once again, when you're thinking about your smoke, thinking about the highlights and the shadow layer, and this purple, this magenta thing was supposed to be a hole in the smoke, and I ended up just painting it purple just because I changed my mind. And stupid artists, we always change our mind. All right, so really, quite literally, you should all have an idea of what you're doing with your sketch and your composition. You should already have that. And then you can just start working on your smoke. Remember to keep the smoke on or around or at those focal points so you can really get a good feel for how that smoke cycles. And once again, just a reminder that my shapes right here are really cartoony because then I can see them. And it's much easier to not make a mistake if you can see what those shapes look like. And just to remind you, if when we're looking at any of the other really cool effects in there, that they are cool, but it's just going to be a little more challenging to get those outside and inside shapes to move correctly. It's just a little bit more subtle, actually. It's cool, I like it. Maybe I'll do that one the next time. All right, so what are we looking at here? I lost track of time. Do we go to 3:30 or 4?
4:30.
We go to 4:30. Okay, so
Yeah.
take a break. Take a break and take 10 minutes. We're going to talk about lightning for just a couple minutes. So there's places where you can use lightning in your volcano. I often talk about just the nature of how much static electricity is up in the volcanic clouds. And there's some really great videos of just like the most intense lightning coming off of volcanic ash. It's actually scary. Obviously, you have lightning that is just in regular daylight. This picture that you're looking at right there is just, it could be a composite, but it might not be. I mean, if fireworks are going off and there's any kind of inclement weather, it can set up that static charge. So that might be just a really wonderful picture straight out of the camera. This is a nice little anatomy here where you have the hooks and loops and thicker bits. And I also think that this is just a nice series of shapes to describe electricity. Remember just to think about what is happening. You've got a couple of million volts going through the air. And so it's a pretty intense thing. And there's different kinds of lightning too, like this is more plasma. Get one of those little balls that you can touch Here you've got like lightning going from cloud to cloud, which is kind of interesting. And here you've got like two nodes that are just sending a current back and forth. And those are just the ones that I had up on top. And you know, some can look very much like plant roots. I think the more successful ones are the ones that are just more simple. I think the more you get into these kind of hairy, rooty things, the more challenging they are to draw. And but it's hard to actually make too much of a mistake. In a lightning demo, what I'm going to do is just set up a couple of different nodes in Harmony. I'm just going to do the same thing where I bring in a color card. On this particular layer, I just have a black frame. Then I have a layout drawing that's underneath it. I think the layout is just the little crosshairs. And then if you can just see what my timeline looks like here, I've just got a couple of frames to get this lightning working. And so from frame 1, it just looks like this. You know, there's just, and it's just repeating. So let's just talk about this frame by frame. What I'll do is a lot of times I'll have like an example of what I'm going for in the background. You know, what kind of lightning am I looking for? You know, is it outside lightning? Is it inside? You know, what is being snapped? That kind of thing. And I'll just have that on my roll so that I can go back and forth between the two. For the volcano, I was just bringing the lightning from one node to another node. So from the ash to the actual top of the volcano. And so this one is just a little bit more complete because it has a flash in it. And let me explain. So what I do here is starting from these first nodes, you can do a couple of different things. One is that lightning can grow really fast. It's going to go from here to there. You don't have to worry about that scientific quality about whether the actual charge goes from the sky to the ground, and then the actual light goes from the ground back up to the sky. It's just a matter of perception. For you, I think that what you can do is you can just grow it. And so if I got my black color with my pencil, you know, your first frame can just be the hot core, just like this. And I'm kind of redoing this as I did over there. And then the next frame could be the hot core as it grows a little bit. And this thing kind of tendrils out and starts to break up. And then the third frame, it's just like maybe this little hook grows a little bit. And it finally hits its final location on the third frame. And here, this shape is just growing a little bit. So this sequence of 1, 2, 3 is repeated here. You can also go backwards. You can also go from that shape back into this one, back into that one. So for this first frame, I have it going all the way from the beginning until the end. And then it just moves a little bit, and then it moves a little bit more. And then this is actually a reversed frame. So what this is a black drawing on top of a white background. So where we started on this one had, well, it's actually dark gray. No, it's black. So it's that really dark gray, even though I called it black. And so what's happening is that I just bring the volcano, the lightning, and again, you can grow it. You can start it and grow it just a little bit until it reaches its final destination on the third frame. You're on ones, 24 FPS, it'll look just fine. But then on this frame right here, I reverse it. So I take this drawing and I just copied this drawing. So again, with my cursor, I just grabbed this white lightning and I copied it. And then on this frame right here, in the black lightning level, I just called this B1, I just pasted it. And so let me just paste it again. Oh, that's kind of weird. I have the smoke still in there. So the lightning comes in on this one. I'm just going to copy it. And I'm just going to say copy it. And I go to this frame right here and I put it in a completely different level because I just want to control it better. So I'm just going to paste it. And now it's right over the top of the other one. And this one is still white. And so what I can do while this is selected here is I want it to be black. So I'm just going to go to the paint bucket tool. And I'm going to hit paint, repaint. And I'm going to pick the black color and I'm just going to paint it. And you might have to dig around a little bit. You might have to just kind of paint it. And this is only for one frame. Yeah, you can strike through in Toon Boom. You can just kind of drag through and paint. It'll let you do that. So you don't have to like click, you can just drag. But make sure you get all of it so that it's all painted. And then that's how I did this one. You can see that those two are very identical shapes. All right, so then what I did is this background here is just dark gray. It's just dark gray. I mean, it's taking on this. I'm not sure why it's not showing me the gray attribute without the render mode, but that's okay. It is gray. We can see it, that it's when we hit the playback. So what I did here is I just put a fake drawing 3. I don't know why, because I just didn't change it. And this, I was just using a rectangle, and I just brought the rectangle onto the stage. And again, with the paint bucket tool, this one was a straight paint, and I just picked the white, and I just painted it white. Now you can see that, but it's just one new frame of white. And this, we will repeat this when we talk about explosions a couple of weeks after midterm. There's a couple of things that this does, and that it's a flash. So you go from black, 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 and then one frame of just white background with the black lightning, and it creates that flash. So now we're going to have 2 little blacks in there. So another trick here is to have like a strobe, tink, tink. And so instead of just doing this once like this, let's just take this an example right here. And I'm going to take this frame right here, and I'm just going to drag it, click, and drag it out 1 frame like that. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. But I'm going to take this and hit minus on the keyboard. It's not exactly what I wanted to do. Hold on a second. I want to drag this out. And then on this frame, I'm just going to I'm right clicking to hit delete, which gives me a blank frame right there. So with these two, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to shift select them and move them down the timeline. And then I just have to hit delete on this one. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this white frame, and I'm just going to, actually what I can do, we're just in the timeline here, is right click and hit copy. Copy the cell from the timeline. Hopefully I did that right. Copy the cell from the timeline and then just paste it. And then I'm going to do the same thing with these two, just this black one here. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hit Control and copy just this left one. And then I'm going to hit paste right here. And I'm going to get rid of this frame. And so now you're going to have a double flash. It feels even more like lightning, right? So one way to play with this now is to just take this frame and move it out 4 frames. Take this frame, move it out 4 frames. And so what happens if you start playing with this timing? You know, you get a little 8-frame delay right there. You know, all kinds of things are possible, and make it look as cool and as real as you want. Again, my lightning here is just really simple. It's just 3 frames of just wiggling around a little bit, and then it changes to the black, and then it goes back to the white, and then there's 3 frames of nothing now, and then the lightning recedes again. So it's almost like you can't make a mistake. One thing that you may want to consider is that if you were going to use lightning for your volcano, like some of the students did, is that instead of doing a white card like this, you reverse the colors on everything in your background. So one way to do it is just to put a black frame on top of your background and the lightning over everything, and then a white frame just like it is right here, you know, because the lightning was so intense it bleeded out the entire background. But another way to do it is to just take your background and reverse all the colors. And I don't think you can see this on the, can you see this? Can you see me reversing colors here?
I see onion skin.
No, but you don't see you don't see it turning black and purple.
Nope.
This is just one of the things you can do on a Mac. So you could reverse all the colors for just one frame. It's a little bit more work, and sometimes this white on top of black explosion thing works just fine. Another way to think about it is if your volcano is over here, that you don't have to do a black frame and a white frame over the entire frame. You can just pick an area where the lightning kind of lit up the side of the volcano, or if you have trees, you know, that kind of thing. Also, when you have the lightning hit, that could be where the fire starts. So you could have the lightning come in, it flashes white on top of black, on top of white, black, and then all of a sudden, where there used to be a tree, now there's fire. So that's another option. And one of the main components of why I like bringing all kinds of projects together to make a more cohesive portfolio piece for you. Again, it's really kind of hard to screw up the lightning. Just pick some good reference. You know, the ones that I have in the board here are okay. This doesn't look like lightning. I don't know what this is. How to draw saliva.
Ew.
Yeah,
Not an effects animation I want to learn.
yeah. But, you know, these little bits of lightning here on the top, because what I did is I clicked on the anatomy of lightning from the main board. It just, oops, it just looks like this, and I just clicked on that. And you just get some pretty good reference, just some really simple graphic shapes. Your lightning should not be this thick. And you can make it blue. There are different colors of lightning. You can see just from this photograph here that there's little tinges of purple and magenta. The lightning itself here can be blue with little bits of purple in it. You can definitely have fun with the actual color of the lightning. This one here, this is looking a little rounded. You know, the idea of lightning is that it tries to find the path of least resistance from point A to point B. And so it's actively trying to find that straightest path. But if you curve it like this, it's up to you to figure out whether that is something that you like or not. Because I think that the overall arc within the actual, the lightning itself can have kind of an arc to it. But sometimes it's actually a little bit more dangerous looking the straighter it is. Like just look at this one. It's like, it's starting from the upper left and just going straight down. It's like, you know, that's a pretty intense. This one here, you know, that's a lot of dispersion. If the lightning just kind of stays in a central core, that means it's hotter. This one here is kind of interesting. They're giving you different shapes. You can kind of see that if the lightning starts to vary and wiggle around a little bit too much, it's not quite so intense. But like these guys right here, this one especially, you know, if it's at a hot core and it hits that, you know, whoever is at the receiving end of this is definitely in trouble. If it curls around and goes backwards, then that means that the power isn't quite as intense. It's just not quite as intense. So right there, we've given you smoke and lightning and composition for your volcano. And remembering that we are going to be adding at least bubbles. And when I say bubbles, I'm talking like mud bubbles, right? Plunk, plunk, because I think that one of the first times I did this, taught this class like 3 or 4 years ago. It's like, oh, bubbles, of course. And, there's some great bubbles that they use in Sword in the Stone. Even Cinderella has some pretty good bubbles in it. But I think that it makes more sense if they're giant mud bubbles, and we can talk about that next week. So we'll talk about fire and bubbles for your volcano composition next week. But yeah, and this is not going to be due for a couple weeks. You want to spend at least 3 weeks getting your smoke really looking nice. And again, I'll annotate those for you in Zoom, so it makes sense for you. And this will be up on YouTube in an hour or so. Again, I talked too fast. I want to load this. Let me see if there's any. Because I think that what I'd like to do is just make sure that you have your maximum creativity turned on. There's a couple of things. If I want you to just kind of look ahead to all the different components we're working on. And in this example here, this was an orb just all by itself. It's going to just come in and just going to do its thing. But what I had done is I made a little note to myself, like 3, go to 8. So I took this orb thing and I put it down here for what I would consider as a kind of a cool final. And in this, what I have is like just a chemistry lab. And you saw that from the examples that we were just looking at. And here you've got like a little Bunsen burner and some bubbles that are inside this liquid. And then you've got another go at smoke. But this smoke is more like this one. And then in this one in particular, there's an orb that comes in. And the orb just comes in and maybe sets everything in motion, and you can be all creative as you want. The orb can come in and crash through the window, or it could crash through the window to come in. And when it does that, it starts the Bunsen burner on fire, and then it kind of just blows up and explodes in a hail of pixie dust. So that's kind of why I was thinking in this mode. In this tornado here, this is a tornado. We're going to try to get this tornado looking really great in 12, 14, 16 different frames, that kind of deal. And when we're doing that, we're going to talk about the relative speed, about the stuff going around the tornado really fast, and then a little bit slower, and then stuff up in the sky is moving even slower. While that's happening, you've got a debris field, and you can start thinking about where you want your tornado to be. Is it just going to be going across a rural environment? In the past, I've had people having cows go all the way around the volcano. You can do a Wizard of Oz theme if you want. It's really up to you. But because of this debris, there can be lightning within the tornado as well. If you just want to put it in there. And then in this example here was just the water splash all by itself. So and I think, oh no, I lied. There's water splashing over here, and then there's a mud bubble. So just kind of looking at all those different modules that we're going to be going through, combining them with the big ones being the volcano, the tornado, and your final. And that's why I wanted you doing this. And that's why I've given you this, this little thumbs JPEG. And remember that this is living in the class. And remember that I want you being creative rather than just copying what I have. Be creative. Where the 2 real standalone pieces so far are the pixie dust and the flag. Now, there's not a whole lot you can do with it, but this is definitely something that you should be thinking about right now. Is on thumbnail form. In thumbnail form, what do you want to do for at least the next 4 projects? There's breaking glass, right? And breaking glass is really easy. Orbs, there's all kinds of funky things you can do with orbs. And I want more of a composition out of you rather than just a bunch of static little pieces.
would you recommend not doing like a sequence? Because like it'd be in theory the same amount of work, but maybe that's a bit more challenging or crazy to do.
You mean like a narrative?
Yeah, like lightning strikes and then there's an explosion because of it, and the next shot shows that erupted volcano. or
No, you can do
something.
that.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, let me just take a look. Your animation, so if you want to draw it out to make like this progressive effects narrative, go right ahead. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Because I think that one of the things that we talked about in day one, remember we were talking about the principles of animation sheets, and I'm rearranging things, I'm adding in weight, and I started with the illusion of life as a principle of animation. Christian, you remember? And then it's like weight, drag, overlapping action, cycling. The idea of things cycling is very game oriented. You can't get into animation at all if you're building a game, because everything is cycling. You have idle cycling, walk cycles, runs, jumps, leaps, shooting, dying. All those things are cycles. Every single one of those things is a little cycling sprite. And if you're game oriented, then I would highly recommend for all these thumbnails is to keep the cycling mood going. But if you're in animation, you can make it more narrative. That's completely fine. Make it as long as you want. I don't think that I don't think it would make any kind of sense to put every one of the effects in one main shot. I think that might be a little get carried away. It might look a little contrived. That if you've got flags waving and orbs and glass breaking, it's like, it's going to look like your teacher just told you to put it all together. But I think that breaking it up into 4 main projects is a good idea. And you can make a narrative out of it if you want. In the past, I've had to caution the animators for just trying to do a little bit too much character acting. You saw the one in week 1 where the little character was just throwing stuff in the pot. That was kind of cool. And that's about as much as I would want from character animation. It's just a bunch of keyframes on 8s. Are you going to hit play?
Is it showing out?
Well, it is, but you're not playing it.
Oh, 1 second.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, great, crazy. This is about as much maximum pixie dust as would be allowed before the pixie dust becomes smoke. You know what I mean? Before the pixie dust becomes like plasma energy. You know what I mean? So it's just the upper limit. It's really great. There's some really great colors in there. Show it to us again.
Ooh.
And I think the thing that makes it read like pixie dust is that the stuff is falling. And so that's what really sells. It's really good. Thanks, Christian.
Thank you.
For Christian, everybody. Clap, clap, clap. Okay, let me check this. Camera's being tricky. Anybody else have any revisions that they want to show me right now?